This video will answer the question, can multicultural education and culturally relevant pedagogy be used to increase student interest in social studies? First, before answering the question, we need to get a clear idea of what multiculturalism is. According to Keith Wilson, multicultural education relates to education and instruction designed for the cultures of several different races in an educational system. In his research of multicultural education, Dr. James Banks developed 5 dimensions of multicultural education. The first dimension is content integration. That is simply putting different cultures into the curriculum. The other dimensions are knowledge construction, equity pedagogy, prejudice reduction, and empowering the social and school culture. As part of multiculturalism education, teachers use equity pedagogy. Equity pedagogy, as described and researched by James and Sherry Banks, are teaching strategies in classroom environments that help students from diverse racial backgrounds, racial and cultural groups attain the knowledge needed to function correctly in a humane, democratic society. We need to use equity pedagogy in our classrooms to promote multiculturalism for many reasons. In order to have an effective constructivist classroom, we must use equity pedagogy. Constructivist classrooms call for putting students in a very collaborative situation with the teacher and students, along with emphasis on a student-centered learning environment. Equity pedagogy is one way to ensure that both of these requirements are met for every student in the classroom. Also, using equity pedagogy allows us as teachers to reach every student in the classroom. It provides an opportunity for every student to thrive and succeed. One of the first things we need to happen to integrate equity pedagogy into the classroom is to set up the classroom to be a successful environment for this type of instruction. Equity pedagogy calls for a large amount of collaborative learning. In order for this to flow smoothly, the teacher would probably want to consider having the classroom desk arranged for this type of work. Some other great ideas for multicultural classrooms are using centers and following the workshop method and having conferences with students regularly. All of these allow you to give individual students exactly what they need to feel empowered in your classroom. Another critical part of equity pedagogy is curriculum integration. According to James Banks' research, there are 4 different types of curriculum integration. The approaches are the contributions approach, the additive approach, the transformation approach, and the social action approach. The contributions approach uses literature and information that focuses on the successes and contributions of a culture and its members. The additive approach is just simply adding multicultural material to an already existing curriculum without changing. The transformation approach takes the curriculum and alters it to show different views and cultures. In the social action approach, students take a stand on a social issue and defend their stance. All of these are great ways to integrate multiculturalism into the curriculum being taught in our classroom. An integral part of multicultural education is multicultural literature. According to Jennifer Arenalo, a graduate student at the University of Wisconsin, multicultural literature is literature that portrays racial and ethnic groups aside from the white Anglo-Saxon majority in the United States today. These books enable you to discuss many different topics and provide characters all students in your classroom can relate to. Some examples of multicultural literature are Lan Po Po, The Chinese Little Red Riding Hood, Number the Stars, and The Color Purple. Each of these books can be used to teach a different concept. Number the Stars or The Color Purple would be a great asset to any social studies class to discuss the specific time period the books are set in, whereas Lan Po Po would be a great book to use to cover the 3rd grade literary standard of comparing the same fairy tale from different countries. An example of what a lesson using equity pedagogy might look like is a lesson on the Civil War. The students would begin the lesson discussing what they know about this general time period. As the class is discussing the topic of the Civil War, the teacher would write the statements on the board. The teacher would then give direct instruction on the Civil War. The teacher would discuss the two opposing sides and the cause of the war during this particular lesson. The students would begin to read the book Pink and Say by Patricia Polacco. This book is about two boys fighting on the same side of the Civil War in their lives as soldiers together. Then students would create a graphic organizer comparing and contrasting Pink and Say and the information they know about the Civil War. To implement this approach, we should begin in kindergarten and follow students up with it. I personally feel it will be much more effective if students are immersed in equity pedagogy from the minute they enter a classroom than trying to fix the problem in upper grades now. Each grade level will have a multicultural education expert who is to make sure this gets implemented in the lesson plans every year. This person would be in charge of keeping up on the latest knowledge in multicultural education so that they can help teachers when they are planning lessons full of diversity. Another part of implementing this in schools would be to make multicultural literature more available and accepted as a student favorite. Teachers could do this by integrating it into various lessons, but also encouraging students to explore cultures they find interesting on their own once they reach grade levels that include independent reading in the curriculum. The students could also embrace different cultures in the school by having storytelling festivals, different ethnic foods, and other various events that promote diversity. This would not only empower students of those cultures, but provide immersion experience for all students involved.